I'm Hayden.
I'm Adee.
We're Team WAG.
And you're watching Snatches and Scotch.
Welcome back to Snatches and Scotch. I'm here with my co-host Adam Wade and Team WAG, Adee and Hayden. We just finished lifting for like 2 hours or
Something
so.
like that.
And then we just went and had some pulled pork and burgers. It was amazing. For somebody who has like 6 packs, they eat a lot of good food. So we're here. We're the purpose of this podcast is to talk about your nutrition and your company working against gravity. And Adee started this as a project, and it just kind of blew up. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about Team WAG and how it started and how it's so successful today?
It originally started, I did my master's in teaching at the University of Toronto, and I had a final project that was to create a website that would be like an e-portfolio or an e-resume. And my professor at the time, Susan Schwartz, she's awesome. She gave me the opportunity to make it more personalized and told me that I should make it to be something that I was going to use. And I knew I wasn't going to go into teaching right away. So I decided I was going to create a little athletic and teaching website. And I started a blog when we went to North Carolina last summer to train with Travis. And it all kind of just went from there.
Awesome. How did you get in it?
Well, people started asking questions because we're very active on social media, and we were getting inquiries.
Yeah, you get closer to the mic.
Staying closer to the mic.
Yeah, there you go.
We were getting a lot of inquiries about what she was doing. So we decided maybe that would be a service that we could offer, and we didn't see anybody really tapping into that market, the world of weightlifting and CrossFit, to any really noticeable extent, and people started signing up.
Sweet.
So as far as working against gravity, so company's nutrition, yes?
We
mostly.
do, yeah, mostly.
Okay. So,
yeah.
so what's sort of the how's it set up? How does it work? Like, it's an online service. It's
100% online.
Okay.
They would sign up through our website,
Sure.
and then they would purchase a nutrition package. All of our packages are the same. It's like a monthly fee, and then they sign up. They fill out a questionnaire that tells us a little bit about their life. So what they do for a living, how active they are, what style of training they do, what gender, age, body composition, how long they've been training for, what their past relationship was like with food. We take all of that information, we put it in our brains, and we give them a set number of carbs, fats, and protein that they could have on whether it's a training day, a rest day. In some cases, we'll give them a refeed day, which is like a whole nother story.
Okay.
And then every single week, they will check in with us. We provide them like a set of resources to track their information throughout the week. We take all of that information from the past 7 days, and we see if we need to make any adjustments in order to help them reach whatever their goal is, whether it's they want to lose weight, they want to lose body fat, they want to gain weight, gain lean body mass, get jacked. Whatever it is.
So as far as the nutrition now, I mean, a lot of people, like people who aren't into high-level athletics, they'll look at calorie counting or, you know, don't have this type of food kind of thing, like just calorie restriction or food restriction type nutrition. What is working against gravity? Like, what sort of stuff do you base it on?
Well,
just
it essentially is calorie restriction because macros are calories.
Yep.
So,
so for those who don't know, what's a macro?
So macros would be the 3 different macronutrients. There's carbs, fats, and protein. And a carb and a protein would be 4 calories each per gram. And a fat would be 9 calories per gram. So we are essentially tracking your calorie intake, but we're not telling you to count your calories. We care where those calories are coming from.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was actually part of Team WAG, and I wasn't a very good client because I wasn't listening all that well to the
Probably
advice.
The best client, you paid and didn't listen.
No, I did. It actually worked. I lost 20 pounds in 8 weeks, just eating a little better and trying to see through my macros. And that's the thing that I found. Like, you learn a lot about yourself in terms of what you're missing in your diet, what you're eating, what you should be eating more of. And the biggest one is too much fat, not enough protein. Everyone thinks that, oh, I got to restrict all my carbs. But I had plenty of carbs. I actually could have eaten even more carbs. I felt like I was eating a lot more on the working against gravity. But I feel like I realized I wasn't eating enough of the right things, right? Mm-hmm. And that just definitely helps with performance. So that's the nice thing. You get to lose weight and still perform, as opposed to just restricting your calories. Because you look at most people. I had a lady the other day at work. She was asking me for food advice. And anytime somebody asks me for advice, I'm kind of hesitant to give them advice, because I always give them advice and they just argue with me. And like, I don't really care to get into an argument with people.
Right.
So she's saying her coach had her on 1,200 calories a day. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, what are your like proteins like? What do you know what you're eating, or you just eat whatever you want and you get 1,200 calories in? She's like, yeah, that's pretty much it. And I was like, oh man, like, and I didn't want to, I got into an argument with her. Like, it wasn't an argument. I was trying to tell her, like, you should probably eat a little bit of this and try to simplify, just give her general rules to go by. She's like, yeah, but I eat chicken and bread. And I was like, oh man, like,
it's just
so difficult.
What you're describing is a common misconception that a lot of people have. They think of how much protein they're taking in terms of protein sources. Oh, I ate chicken today, and I had a piece of beef, and I had whatever else. So maybe you had 3 protein sources, but how many grams did that add up to? Probably not very much. And like you said, fat's probably way through the roof, and carbs probably not enough for most people.
Yeah. It's also interesting when you get somebody that's saying, oh, I'm having 1,200 calories a day, but are you really? Because
Are you weighing it?
Yeah. Are you measuring and tracking exactly how much you're eating? So somebody could enter, let's say, in an app like MyFitnessPal, and that's what they're using to track. And they'll say, oh, I had 1 serving of cheese. But a serving of cheese is generally 28 to 30 grams. Do you know what that even looks like? Have you seen what that looks like? Because it might not be exactly what you think it is. And then if it's 2 servings, that's gone from 8 grams of fat to 16 grams of fat very quick.
And that's what I realized when I started weighing my food. I was surprised as to how much fat I was taking in, like way too much fat. Like, and at first I was like, oh, it's not that much, because I was eyeballing it. And then when you start weighing it, it's a wake up call for sure, because it just adds up so fast. Yeah. Right.
If you're not intentionally looking for lean sources, just the trace fats that you're going to pick up over the day are going to fill your entire day's worth of fat. That
was my biggest concern. How can I get so much protein in my diet without adding the fat? So it was at night, I had to get 40 more grams of protein. I'm like, I don't want to eat chicken. I don't want to eat a plain can of tuna,
or egg whites.
And this guy has a genius idea. Why don't you tell him about your genius idea?
The mud cake?
The mud cake.
It's our secret weapon. The mud cake is a client favorite. Basically, all it is any amount of protein you want, cocoa powder, baking powder, and almond milk. And you can make an amount this big, mix it all up. It looks kind of like sludge. You put it in the microwave 30 seconds, and it blows up into this huge cake, and you can put whatever you want on it.
It's like a brownie.
Cream, but Cool Whip.
But a healthy brownie.
Yeah, well, it's
kind of.
Kind of, but you can make a brownie that has 100 grams of protein in it.
Sure.
I hate the word like healthy food.
Yeah. So why don't we talk about that? Why don't we talk about the whole point about working against gravity and building a positive relationship with food?
Like, I guess right off of that, I hate when people say that's not healthy or that's, it's like not, people associate healthy with, like, why is one thing healthier than another thing if you're having everything in moderation and it's all working towards your goals? I don't necessarily, I think a healthy relationship with food is being able to fuel yourself for whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're working out or you're not working out at all, and then being able to enjoy your life as well. I don't like to be restricted. I don't see a healthy diet that also has a few treats here and there does not make it unhealthy.
Yeah. Now, I had a question. A second ago, you mentioned carbs.
Mm-hmm.
Most people misconstrue carbs with wheat. Like
Right.
whenever we think carbs, everybody instantly thinks bread, right? I actually did a presentation for just describing what paleo was to some people. And I talked about carbs and how you should be taking them in. And they're like, oh, you mean so I should be having wheat? I was like, you can get carbs from vegetables. You can get them from fruit. Like you get it from all sorts of stuff. And I think there's this big misconception that as soon as we say you can have carbs, people instantly say, perfect, I can have bread all the time, right? And is that part of the diet, or do you try to restrict as like processed stuff?
There is zero food off limits.
As far as I shouldn't say quantity, like for meeting your carb.
We don't set up
just whatever. Okay. Hey,
we don't set a percent like X amount should come from sugar. X amount should. Basically, if a client came to us with a problem and said, I'm feeling extremely hungry, which is pretty normal of week 1 or 2. People don't know how to eat high volume foods, so they struggle. We would recommend stay away from grains. If you could have 2 pieces of bread, that would be the same as 2 or 3 giant bowls of spinach. So yeah, you can have all the bread you want, but it's probably not going to be what you want to do, because
just limits the amount of food you can eat.
You're gonna be hungry.
We also provide a fiber requirement for our clients. So they have to meet a certain amount of fiber, grams of dietary fiber a day. And if you're only having processed foods, you're not going to meet that requirement.
Sure.
So you'd have to be having like raspberries, pears, spinach, whole grains, beans, lentils, things that are high fiber in order to be able to get that requirement.
Right. At the end of the day, though, you would encourage unprocessed foods over processed to meet your requirements? I'm just curious. Like
we recommend 90% micronutrient dense foods.
Sure.
So majority of that's going to come from non-processed foods.
Right.
And for micronutrients, because we discussed macros, for those people, again, people who are new to nutrition, micronutrients
are vitamins and minerals. They're essential.
Right.
So that's what we're encouraging. We want people to get those. You're going to feel better. If all of your carbs are coming from sugar, you're not going to feel good. You're not going to meet your fiber goal. So that's what it's there for.
I like the system in the sense that it's balanced, because you don't have to say, like, for example, like a paleo approach to eating, you can't eat this or you can't eat that, avoid this. I like this approach because it's like you have to eat whole foods or you're going to have a terrible time meeting your macros, a horrible time. And I've been there. And I wasn't eating really good food, and it was like, it seemed like a lost battle. Like if you eat processed food and you want to eat 200 grams of protein a day, which is my intake, you're shit out of luck. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. There's no way to get that. And also your fat intake. If I'm trying to stay to 65 grams of fat, which is my fat, there's no way. Like there's days I look at my thing and I'm like, God damn it, I'm already at 70 grams of fat and I hadn't had dinner yet. So it's almost like a self-regulated system where it forces you to make better choices. And we had this conversation over lunch at Big Bone Barbecues. Good stuff. And we're talking about, like, I like because...
Did you bring your scale?
No. I like because, at the end of the day, if I need more carbs, I can have a beer. And then Hayden's like, yeah, you can have a beer. And he's a beer connoisseur himself. But when you look at a beer and how many grams of carbs are in a beer as opposed to real food, sometimes you're like, I'd rather eat real food than just have this beer, right? So it kind of makes you make better lifestyle choices. And that cumulative effect, I think, as opposed to being all out, all in or nothing, that cumulative effect and that lifestyle thing, it just becomes part of who you are.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. It just holds you 100% accountable. Yeah. You can have a beer if you want, but it means you're going to have to make sacrifices in not eating real food,
which is sometimes totally okay.
Yeah,
sometimes that's then you shouldn't feel guilty about it. So if there's the difference between what we do and maybe something that's restrictive in food choices, we're still restrictive. Absolutely. Like there still are restrictions in any diet. There's going to be restrictions. If there are no restrictions, you're probably not going to see results. But when you're making your own food choices, we are limiting the opportunity for you to go out of control. So I want you to be able to leave our program or continue on our program feeling like I'm okay with having just one brownie instead of having the entire pan. Yeah. So that's a huge difference.
We went out for sushi. We went out for sushi and she returned tuna rolls, twice because the lady had avocado in them. She asked, please no avocado. And they was going to up her fat
So
intake
bad.
for the day. She set them back. I think I ate them at the end of the day. But so there's definitely restrictions. But the nice part is that you're creating a healthy relationship with food. And my thing with clients, I don't know about your gym, but people ask you for nutrition advice. And I like to give them basic general rules that they can follow and not overwhelm them. And at the end of the day, my thing is I just hope that they can just enjoy food. Like you should, food is fuel, but you should still be able to enjoy it. You know what I mean? So, and that's very important.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Oh, I know Adam agrees. Adam has...
I love food.
Yeah.
It's in our society, every single thing we do is surrounded by food. So like you go to the movies, you think about like what snacks am I going to eat, or it's someone's birthday and you think about are we going to have pizza and cake, or everything is surrounded by food. So we're trying to create a new culture where it's not a big deal. Like it's not a big deal if you have a piece of cake, just make it fit in your plan.
Yeah.
Now, you guys, I mean, the pair of you are both Olympic lifter background, right? Now, working against gravity is partly for anybody, right? But because you guys are both high performance athletes, I'm assuming you have a pretty big draw for that type of clientele. Does it change at all as far as like the way you would program food based on if the person's an Olympic lifter, a CrossFitter, or just, a 40 year,
for example,
like a 40-year-old guy who sits at a desk all day long and is like, you know what, I just need to get in shape and I'm looking forward to walking, 5K, on the weekends.
My mom is on the program and I'm dead serious. I say this all the time. She thinks ironing clothes is working out.
Totally.
Yeah. She's like, this is heavy. And I move it back and forth and I'm standing the whole time. And she genuinely believes that that's working out.
She's burning calories.
She's been on our program for 18 weeks and she's lost 12 pounds. So we are definitely individualizing the program to whatever your lifestyle is. We adapt to you. You don't have to adapt to us.
Now, because of who you guys are and working against gravity has grown relatively quickly, is your draw a lot for high performance athletes? I'm just looking for like the demographic of who it is that uses your service, your program.
Well, in addition to ordering through our website, we have multiple partners as well. So we have Mash Elite Performance, Catalyst Athletics, Inspired to be Fit, and Barbell Babes. So depending where they're coming from, they're a totally different style of clientele. We have just regular gym goers, the treadmill bunny type,
That's a good term.
I like that before. I like that.
the intense CrossFitters, the CrossFitters who just exercise for fun, bodybuilders,
and then weightlifters.
And
but I'd say most of them are higher level, or maybe not like elite level athletes, but people that have aspirations of being elite level athletes. I would say a large percentage of the people.
I think probably 50% would be that.
Yeah.
And then amongst those other ones that I just listed would be the other 50.
Yeah, like people like me, just kind of like working out, but have no aspirations to be a high level athlete.
You just want a six pack,
just want
cause.
to work out and look jacked.
Yeah.
Be summer strong. Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how the business blew up in such a short amount of time.
Perfect.
All right, peace out. Hey, I'm your host, Sylvie Bona. If you're enjoying the episode so far, please go to YouTube. Follow us, Snatches and Scotch, on YouTube. Go to Instagram. Follow us at Snatches and Scotch, or Twitter at Snatches Scotch on Twitter. Check out snatchesandscotch.com for an upcoming free workout program called Summer Strong. So get strong and look like you're strong for the summer. All right. Here goes part 2 with Adee and Hayden and Team WAG. Okay, and we're back. And we actually took a little break that time. So what we're going to talk about next is just about your company and how it's grown, and just knowing Hayden and Adee for a tiny bit. What I appreciate about them is that they live the lifestyle. So their company is not just a company that helps people eat well. They're a lifestyle brand. They travel all over the place. They're constantly learning. And I believe their clients see that. And when people see that you're real and you're living what you're preaching, I think that's extremely powerful. So why don't you guys tell us a little bit about your experience with growing your business online, and then how you guys pretty much live the lifestyle.
Take it.
You want to take it or me?
Go for it.
Well, even before we had Working Against Gravity, we were really active on social media. To start, me and Adee had a competition between each other just who could get the most followers. So we were
We did.
Every day we were
Me, obviously.
Yeah.
you can't compete with the girls, but I hung in there for a while. She got a few pretty big shout outs and stuff and got ahead of me. But I mean, once we started the company, we just started posting results. And every time we post a transformation picture now, we get 10 signups that day. So the pictures are helpful. We get shout outs from our various partners. And social media has definitely been huge for us. It's really the only place that we're marketing. So that's where everyone comes from.
I would definitely, we also have to 100% give credit to the catalyst of our success is Travis Mash, 100%. He's like my best friend, huge mentor of mine. He's like kind of
partners.
Yeah, he's our first partner. He's kind of like a father figure to me. I like love him to death. And when we decided I finished my master's degree, like broke, and we decided to get into my car and drive to North Carolina. None of this existed. And we spent 3.5 months living in a double wide trailer on a 7-acre farm.
Shopping at Dollar General.
Pardon?
Shopping at Dollar General.
Yeah, we did our grocery shopping, counting our macros at Dollar General.
Nice.
Probably weren't really meeting our fiber goal at that time, but we were making it work. And Travis believed in us.
So you can do it on a budget. You can eat healthy on a budget.
Absolutely. But by the end of the trip,
well, the only reason I bring
you can meet your macros. Yeah.
Well, the only reason I bring it up is the majority of people assume that once you're trying to eat healthy, you're at Whole Foods or Newmarket,
right.
Nature's Emporium, right? Like you can eat healthy on a budget. You don't
100%.
have to. Right. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. When we got back from that trip, I could not look at chicken breast or penne for months. Though.
It was bad.
I had it coming out my ears. We ate it so much, 4 times a day.
100%. So he believed in us and believed in me, and he definitely was a huge catalyst for this whole entire thing starting.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys, after you guys this kind of took off, you still travel all the time. Every time I see you on social media, you're either on a beach flexing your abs, or he's like with his shirt off in the gym flexing his abs, or but you guys you like to go to different gyms, lift at different places. Like you're almost never in the same place all the time. Like when you're at home you are, but when you're traveling, you guys are all over the place. And you're also going to the Barbell Shrug Mastermind coming up soon.
Yeah.
So why all the traveling?
To steal a little note from John North, it's all about the melting pot and getting all the information you can. So the first real trip we did like that was North Carolina to go visit the MASH compound and all the MASH athletes. Well, actually, the very first one, we went to the original Attitude Nation gym, and that's how we met Travis Mash. And it was just about traveling and learning new things and new people, new styles, techniques, all that stuff. And
different sports too. We just spent some time. We trained with Team Ontario for a week, did bobsledding in Lake Placid. So we got to do that, be bobsledders for a full week.
Powerlifting.
Competed in some powerlifting competitions. I am going to the Grid League Combine next weekend in Maryland, and Nationals the weekend after, like a few weekends after that.
The weekend after Maryland, me and our other coach, Francesco, are flying to Calgary to hopefully qualify for RUM.
What does that stand for?
I have no idea.
I should probably know that, but
it's just to qualify for like the powerlifting nationals.
It's a big powerlifting competition, but our goal is to qualify there. And then we have Nationals, then you have Mastermind, and then we have
that's why Travis Mash
Vegas.
calls me the Barbell Gypsy. So
you really are.
I learn something new every single time. Whether you're training with bobsledders, they are strong as hell. Like they are so strong and so athletic.
And you guys got to meet the Jamaican bobsled team, right?
Yeah, we actually did.
We did. Yeah.
We did. The Jamaican bobsled team was there.
They were the up and coming team, so they did their very first run from the top the week we were there.
Yeah, from start
one. Which was
one.
like exciting to see. They were all scared, like out of their minds.
Yeah.
So are we. But
so are we. But
So what's next? Where are you guys going next?
We
Vegas
have
is the next big one.
the next big one is Vegas. We have the Combine and then Nationals. He has a competition in Calgary. I'm going to San Diego to do the Barbell Mastermind. And then we're going to do the same thing we did in North Carolina, but in Las Vegas. And we'll mix in a little bit of California until
So
August.
you're leaving Canada for a while?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for like 3 months.
So where you guys going to be in Vegas at?
We'll be training at Average Bros
Sweet. With Mendez?
with Pat Mendez and Taylor Gray.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
few good
Awesome.
lifters out of there now. They have like a really good 77.
Angelo.
And the female lifter.
Angela.
Yeah, so they have a lot of international.
Yeah, she's a
level
58.
weightlifters.
She just won a bronze medal at World Universities.
Sweet.
So yeah.
Now for Grid League, any expectations coming into it? Because I know from social media that you've done some CrossFit type stuff. Now you're more of an
I did the
lifter,
open, yeah.
But having done that, is it going to help you, or are you going in purely as a lifter? Like, what's sort of the
CrossFit's-
You know what I mean? Like what's sort of the goal for Grid League? Because it is sort of an up and coming, rather large thing. That's, I mean, people are getting paid to exercise race,
Yeah.
basically.
That's his famous line.
I love that.
That's
I want
what
a
he's known
T-shirt
for.
that says "Exercise Racer."
Honestly, I'm kind of like a today kind of person. I don't really think. A lot of people give me like a hard time about that. I'm not like a long-term goal kind of person. I'm more like what's going on right now. I don't have any real expectations. I'm so excited to be there. I think it's going to be so unbelievably fun. I think CrossFit's going to help me 100%. If you watch any of the grid races, it's a lot of reps. It's really fast. It's high intensity interval training. You're going to get short bursts of a lot of energy in one shot, and then you're going to have to take a little short rest. You're going to have to be able to move really quickly, cycle the barbell. As a weightlifter, I think I have an advantage in that I can cycle a heavier barbell than most people. I'm not so good at the gymnastics part of things, but I'm working on it. But CrossFit's definitely helped. If I did this before that, oh no.
Now, did you do any specific training for this? Like knowing that you're going to Grid League, or just focus on what you were normally doing anyways? Again, being a today kind of person, but you've obviously got some type of a training plan going forward.
I
just curious if it
found out
changed
about
at
the
all.
Combine last week.
So that's a no?
I've done it's like Grid League specific training. Absolutely not. Like none. Zero.
You'll do a Grid League specific workout today.
Yeah, it was. I switched it up a little. I did snatch and clean and jerk. So yeah.
No, I mean after. You could do it after.
Afterwards. Yeah, I'll do some.
I stole this one from Travis. He had a similar one.
Which one?
Maybe I did. No, it wasn't for Travis. Because he released that 9-week grid program, like a little sampler, and I looked at it, and it actually looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. No.
Oh, it's awesome. It's like four things you do on the gym. It looks like an hour and a half at most, but it's like super heavy, super fast.
I love it.
Rest, go. It looks like a lot of fun.
I'm so excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Travis is the man for programming, that's for sure.
Yeah, Travis is probably like one of the best coaches I've ever worked with. And I've worked with a lot of coaches, but he's definitely the best for sure.
That's awesome. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I wanted to ask something more about nutrition. So the only reason this came to mind, again, going back to working with high-level athletes, last week, or I guess earlier on this week, however you want to look at it, we interviewed a girl who's a pro athlete for CrossFit, Christina Ndali, and she mentioned that she eats based on the number of reps that she does in a day, right? So if you're doing nutrition programming for a high-level athlete, do you look at their training program as well? You know what I mean? For designing it, do you assess their training program and then build the nutrition around it for a specific day, or just generally? Just out of curiosity, how specific it can get.
I have an athlete who I work with personally, Courtney Bowman, who just qualified for the first time for regionals as an individual athlete, and I think she came in 9th in Canada East, and her nutrition is specified whether she's doing 2 workouts a day, whether she's doing 1 workout a day, whether she's resting, whether she's having a refeed day. So it looks completely different than another athlete. So I think when you're at that kind of a level, we're absolutely taking all factors into account, whether it's a moderate training day, whether it's a more lifting heavy day, a more cardio heavy day. We also have people who are lifting, but then are also training for a marathon. And then they're going to have a day where they're running 15K and they're going to need specific macronutrients to fuel them for that particular day. It can't be the same as if they're doing max snatch, max clean and jerk.
Sure. Yeah. I guess it was just, I wanted to get not really clarification, but see if, you do really gear it towards, you're doing something heavy today. Here's what you're going to take in. High reps today. This is what you're going to take in, which is good. I mean, because then it's really tailored towards what the person will do on any given specific day, which is awesome.
Yeah. That it's the method that you were describing just sounds like she kind of figured out a rough estimate of how many calories she's burning.
I think she does zone. Everything was blocks, but it was based around, from what I understood, it was based around number of reps that she did in a day. Like, so if she
it would just be like
does
volume.
a workout and does 300 reps or does 200 reps, the
so
nutrition is
they have an
based on
estimation
that.
of how many calories she's burning doing X amount of reps, and then they're just adjusting it like that. While we don't take necessarily, if they're doing 400, 300 amount of reps, we can see based on their body weight fluctuations and other things that they send us in their check-in, whether they're burning higher than maintenance or lower than maintenance calories, and we can adjust accordingly. So it's a similar method, just a little.
Yeah,
we tweak
she's
it a little
basically
differently.
just assessing whether she's having a low volume day, a moderate volume day, and a high volume day, and is giving herself different macronutrients for those different days. Because zone is the same thing. You're tracking macros. It's just in blocks versus we break it down to the gram.
So you guys, everyone's got a scale in their kitchen?
Well, zone, you have to weigh your stuff, right?
No, like for you guys,
I have
everyone
a
on
scale in my kitchen and a scale in my purse.
They're like thin. They make
That's
thin,
dedicated.
like that big.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Like
I have
that
no
looks like
shame in the restaurant pulling out the scale. No shame. 100%.
Scale queen.
We're gonna start a revolution here. Everyone's gonna show up to restaurants with scales.
I've been doing it for a long time that I can generally estimate what something looks like based off of like my hand, and I've used my hand enough measuring things out. I've tested myself. I'm pretty good up to like 5 grams, so I can be 5 grams over, 5 grams under, but I'm pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty funny when we go to Korean barbecue as a team, everyone's got their scales out weighing the meat and stuff like that. You get some weird looks, but
and it's pretty we've been doing it. It eventually becomes second nature. It's just put it on, off, and then you're done. That's it.
Sweet. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up. Do you guys have anybody you want to shout out to on the show? Actually, before we wrap it up, I'm going to call out John North because he said he wanted to be on the show and he never got back to me. And I know you're busy, John, but get it together, buddy. Anybody you guys want to shout out to?
I guess all of our partners, Barbell Babes, Catalyst Athletics, MASH, and whom are inspired to be fit. Go check them all out on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. They're all great.
Check him out on Instagram.
Oh yeah,
at Working Against Gravity.
And at Adee Zucker.
Yep. And how do you spell Zucker?
Zukier. Or if you're from America, it's Zukier.
There you go. All right. So thanks for coming, guys.
No problem.
And peace out.
Thanks for having us.
All right.